When you think of exercise, maybe you think of running on a treadmill or lifting weights or playing a sport. But this season on Health is Wealth, I'm introducing you to some people in our community who are doing some more unusual forms of exercise. See if you can guess what this one is.
It's a very, very scary activity, and I think most people are intimidated by it.
Are we talking football, skateboarding, cage fighting? Nope, it's dancing. And I faced my fears and gave it a try. Health is Wealth is supported by Meridian Health Services and LifeStream Services. David Fenig is a man of many talents, including catering and photography. He's also a dance teacher, first in Portland, Oregon, and then for the last 12 years in Portland, Indiana. And more recently, he also opened a dance studio in downtown Muncie.
So most people think like they get out and they try and dance at their cousin's wedding or whatever, and it doesn't go well, and they think, oh, I can't dance. And it's like, no, you haven't trained. Like, you haven't trained in dancing, and it's totally okay. It's like singing karaoke. It's like if you sing karaoke because you enjoy it, go, belt, sing. It's something you should do. And that's the same kind of thing with dancing. It's like you don't have to be good at it in order for it to be really, really valuable. It's a great activity. It's great for our balance. It's great for our kind of brain-body coordination.
David is describing me to a T. Any kind of team sport, sign me up to try it. But something about dancing, I don't know, I just feel like I'm making a fool out of myself, even if nobody's watching. So why did I find myself in David's studio on a Tuesday night learning to dance?
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Beautiful, rotate through.
To explain, let me back up a little. I shared in a previous episode, only 1 in 4 adults meet the weekly physical activity guidelines for both aerobic and muscle strengthening activity. We know exercise is good for us, but we still just don't do it. Why is that? Last summer, I read this book by Harvard professor Daniel Lieberman. The title, Exercised, is a play on words because exercise can also mean to cause anxiety or alarm.
We make people exercised about exercise. We make them stressed and confused and anxious about how we use our bodies. And I think one key issue that people need to know over and over and over again, can't emphasize too much, is that it doesn't matter how much you do, anything you do is better than none. And just climbing the stairs once a day is better than not climbing the stairs. And the more you do, the more you're going to get slowly get the benefit. And you don't need to run marathons or swim the English Channel or climb Mount Everest or whatever it is. Just moderate amounts of physical activity, 7,000 steps a day, have massive benefits. So let's stop scaring people without shaming and blaming them. Help them find ways to make it rewarding. If you do that, and like dancing, for example. I mean, dancing is great for you. You can think of it as exercise, but nobody calls dancing exercise. Why don't we have more dancing, right?
I can confirm dancing is exercise. I worked up a serious sweat at Harmony Movement Studio. So why don't we think of dancing as exercise? I think it's because the music makes it fun. And at least on a subconscious level, if it's fun, then we don't think of it as exercise.
Cool, high five and rotate.
And here's my point. So many of us are trying to be more physically active, but it's hard to find the motivation to stick to it. And one of the very best ways to overcome that hurdle is to find activities that are fun. Your fun activity might not be what I think is fun, but that's okay. Find what's fun for you.
Here we go.
Okay, back to the dance class. After the first hour of learning different steps and movements, we got to the next stage, partner dancing. All the Latin and ballroom dances that David teaches are partner dances, so one partner is leading and the other partner is following. I assumed most people in the class come with a partner, but David said actually a majority of his students are people who come on their own. I figured since I was new, I'd be learning to follow, and eventually, if I kept at it, I'd start learning to lead. Nope. David has come up with a unique way of teaching dance, and he doesn't know of any other dance studio that teaches this way.
So I teach everyone to both lead and follow because they're very kind of different ways of moving and engaging your brain. And it is very exhausting, typically speaking, to lead because you're trying to come up with something to say. And so you're trying to tell a story while music is playing. It makes it impossible to actually engage with the music. But following is exactly the opposite. Because you're so tuned in to what your partner is trying to communicate next, you are also more tuned into the music. And so by learning to do both and kind of alternating between the two, it's not just a whole body workout, it's a whole mind workout.
So the whole class goes through a kind of a rotation, sort of like speed dating, where you're dancing with maybe a dozen different people over the course of the hour. And the key part is, during the 5 minutes or so you're dancing with each person, you switch who's leading and following several times. Leading is really tough. I'm learning the footwork for the dance we're doing. And now on top of that, I'm learning how to initiate a twirl for my partner. And I have to decide when to do it. Whew, it's a lot. But I gotta say, the people I danced with were so kind and gracious. They all had more experience than me, some of them years, maybe decades of experience. And they were so patient with me as I tried to learn how to lead them.
In order to be a good leader, it's kind of like engaging your speaking brain. And to be a good follower, it's like engaging your listening brain. They're both important to exercise and to exercise them side by side. But then we also exercise our upper body, our lower body, or basically the whole body workout. So it's kind of the best, and it's fun. It's very distracting. It's easy once music is going to just dive in and keep going further than you thought you could.
This idea of music taking you further than you thought you could go, it's not just a dancing thing. This is true across different forms of exercise, and it's backed up by research data. A 2021 review of existing research found that music has been shown to help participants go further in endurance exercise, like cycling or running. And in resistance exercise, like weightlifting, music increases both strength and the number of reps participants achieve. Music is a big part of so many exercise classes, like the free classes from Cardinal Wellness here in Muncie.
All of our programs, well, except Ultimate Frisbee, have music as a part of the instruction. So at the beginning, we'll use music that's a low rhythm or tempo, and then when we move towards the climactic part of the workout, then the intensity picks up, and then it will go back down as we cool down, like a bell curve.
Cardinal Wellness is an awesome local program, by the way, and we'll talk more about it in an upcoming episode. But think about that bell curve Shannon was describing. When we're doing a moderate or high intensity activity, it's important to have a warm up and a cool down so your exertion and your heart rate follow something like that bell curve. And if the tempo of your music also follows that bell curve, you can just focus your attention on the music and the intensity of your workout will follow.
So rhythm has a very unique role. I think it is something that is just deeply intertwined with being human, basically, is either playing music, singing music, experiencing music, especially as a group, and it helps with group cohesion. I think music helps us move into the same headspace that we are when we're trying to catch a ball that's thrown to us. You just kind of like reach out and grab it. You can't think about it. And if you did think about it, you would never bring your hands to where it needs to be in time. You couldn't calculate that fast. And music kind of does the same thing. It brings us into a headspace where we can be in the zone.
Nicely done, guys. Rotate through.
So to summarize, let me read a quote from the research review I mentioned earlier. Overall, this suggests that a primary mechanism of beneficial effects of preferred music is through modulation of attentional focus, allowing for focus on the external stimuli of music over discomfort experienced during exhausting exercise. To say it another way, you focus on the music so you don't notice how tired and sore you are. Now, why couldn't they have just said that in the first place? Hey, you're still watching, so like this video and subscribe to help us produce more local content in East Central Indiana. Next time on Health is Wealth, is exercise in modern America a privilege or a punishment? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.